All right, what's up? It's Tank from X106.5, Jacksonville's new alternative. Remember me? I used to be on the radio. We're hanging out with Andrew McMahon, who came out of the wilderness tonight before his big show at Ponte Vedra Concert Hall.
Yes.
Have you ever been to that venue before?
I don't believe I have. It doesn't look familiar, but it looks nice. They got a nice dressing room back there.
So you know, it used to be a church.
Oh, really?
It used to be a church, and,
Yeah.
and they converted it, and it sounds phenomenal. It's
Yeah.
one of the best sounding venue in the whole city.
It seems like they've got a really beautiful acoustic treatment along the whole set of walls there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing it.
It's going to be awesome. It's tonight, so if you haven't got your tickets, you might want to hurry and get them. If not, then sorry, you missed out.
You missed it.
You missed the show. So a lot of people know you from something corporate, Jack's Mannequin, obviously in the wilderness.
Yep.
And most people, I think, know you from riding a big-ass rubber duck. Big Ticket.
Is that where most of them know me from? That's good. I like that.
You know, the 7 people that still listen to the station, they were all at the Big Tickets back
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
And we remember you putting on these amazing shows. My favorite thing about you is just how you embrace your whole. I feel like you're really you.
I try. Well, you know, what's funny is like I joke that it seems like when I get on stage, that's the most me. I can be like, something happens where I just sort of like I shed the whatever insecurity, whatever it is that I usually carry with me in a given day, and it becomes about this thing with the crowd, you know, and this exchange of energy. And yeah, certainly it gets fun when I can make my way into the crowd, whether it's just walking through it or riding through it on a big inflatable.
Whatever it takes to get out there with the people.
Exactly.
I find it interesting. This new album is it's called Tilt Against the Wind No More.
Close. You're so close. We tried this before. No, you were.
Damn it.
Tilt at the wind no more. You actually made it more complicated than it was.
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's what I do. That's
yeah,
my wife.
Yeah.
So,
Same.
you know, this new album, what direction did you head into it? You know, this is just coming out of one of the weirdest couple of years we've ever had in the world.
Totally.
And how did that impact this album?
Well, I mean, I took a break from writing music during the pandemic and really focused on writing a book. And so I think it had like kind of a dual effect, which was I waited until I felt like the lights were coming back on and there was like some hope and a reason to, I think, make new music. But I think because I had written the book, which was very personal and was really about tying up a lot of loose ends in my life and kind of moving forward from that point, I think the music sort of inherited some of that forgiveness, some of that reflection without judgment, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
and so yeah, the songs there, you know, a lot of them are about sort of moments of struggle in my life, but kind of breaking free of that and looking forward rather than backwards, if that makes sense.
So it's interesting you say that, looking forwards and backwards. And the time you wrote a book called 3 Pianos.
Yeah.
And all that retrospection.
Yeah.
You know, looking back.
Yeah.
How does that speak to you moving forward?
Well, I think, look, you know, for me, I've always got something in the rear view, right? And I think it's important to sort of deal with that stuff in an effort to get a step forward, you know? And so I find myself a lot of times when I'm writing, I'll be looking back at you know, mistakes I've made or whether it's like a joy or something to celebrate or something like some pitfall, and then trying to make peace with it. And I think a lot of this record was about making peace with the past in an effort to move forward.
You also you are a leukemia survivor.
Yes.
And you have your own foundation that helps with people.
Yeah. So I'm now, gosh, I think it's 18 years a survivor.
Congratulations, that's awesome.
Thanks, man. Yeah, and we started the Dear Jack Foundation basically to try and fill in the gaps for what we saw, my wife and me and my family, as young people going through cancer. There just were not as many support services. There isn't really a roadmap for young cancer in the same way that there is for pediatric cancer and adult, you know, later adult cancer. So what we do is we build programs, things to brighten the day of patients that are actually in the hospital or going through treatment, and also programs to help orient people back to life after cancer, which I found was a very tricky part of my life, was figuring out who I was after going through it, and we try and make that easier with the foundation.
How does being able to express yourself through music, how did that help you during that time?
It was huge. You know, I think if you talk to anybody who was a fan back in that moment, you know, I had a brand new record that was released while I was getting a stem cell transplant, right? And I think there was a huge motivation for me, not only to get back to writing and creating, but to support this first Jack's Mannequin record that I had put out. And having music sort of on the horizon was really something that I think motivated me to get better faster. It kept me hopeful and kept me saying, like, well, you have something to look forward to, so I do find that, if you're in treatment or you're going through it, it's those little things on the horizon that keep you fighting, that keep you also feeling as peaceful as you can while they're just beating the hell out of you. And it really, music was a huge motivator for me in that time.
So it's like that hope is just kind of something like, I got to stick around.
Yes.
Because one of the big songs that we had when we first started the station was Cecilia on the Satellite.
Yeah.
So like that, having a kid myself recently, as an old ass dad, I really understood that song on a different level.
Right.
After having a kid, and that's what you're talking about, is having, I find myself wanting to live longer because I want to see what she does.
Yeah, and I think, what I love about that song is that it was sort of a chance to look at my life prior to having a kid. I mean, I wrote most of the lyric for that song before Cecilia was born, and it wasn't even called Cecilia and the Satellite until, a month after, and I got back to the studio and we wrote her name into the song, into the end of the chorus. But I think what I dig the most about that song is that it really is more like an education. It's like me telling my daughter, like, this is like the stuff I've been through.
Right.
And you're going to go through, maybe it's similar stuff or completely a different set of highs and lows. But the idea is that I'm going to be there for you in the process,
right.
and because I was kind of nervous writing the father-daughter song. They can get very corny very fast.
Schlocky,
No, but I'm eternally grateful for her and for the song. I mean, it obviously gave me a whole third act of my career here.
Now that she's got to be 8 now?
She's 9.
9.
Yeah.
So does she grasp that the song is for her?
Oh yeah, She any song that has a reference to her in it is her favorite song. So I've had to learn how to filter her love of my music through the lens of like, well, okay, she's always gonna like it if I say daughter in the song. But yeah, she'll run on stage and sing backups on Cecilia and the Satellite if she's on the road with me. Yeah,
amazing.
She actually, there's a song called "Smoking Ribbons" on Tilt at the Wind No More that she actually it's her and me singing the chorus together.
That's amazing. I'm looking forward to listening to that.
Yeah.
The album thing now is weird to me because back in the day you used to do an album.
Yeah.
It was like putting together a TV show. You wrote for a TV show as well.
Yeah.
Called Smash.
Yeah.
Little education.
There you go.
So it was back in the day. Your album was a story from front to back.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was different stories, maybe it was different chapters. But now, is it still the same for you because of the way people consume music differently, or do you still go about it that way, telling a specific story?
I think at this moment I could see sort of deviating a little from the album model just because of the way that music is consumed, and I don't have any judgment for that. I'm just glad that people are, out there listening to music, and I mean, but I approached this record in that sort of old format way. We obviously released it differently. We put, we did a song at a time, and we sort of revealed quite a bit of the record before it dropped. But I think because it had been 5 years since I had put something out, I wanted it to feel like a body of work. If for the fans that have come up listening to my albums in their entirety, I did want to make it that way. But yeah, I do perceive it a little differently. It's not like this excitement. Everybody runs to the record store and has to listen from front to back because that's just what you do. It's just that people consume music differently now. So I'll probably approach it a little more in like a singles, B-sides, EP kind of way in the future.
So do you ever lament that you weren't around in 1979, so somebody had to go buy your record and listen? You ever wish that you got to make music in that era?
I mean, I suppose, but I'm just a firm believer. It's like we end up on this earth when we end up on it, and you just gotta play with the cards that you're dealt, right? And I know that's kind of a corny statement, but I've been so fortunate. I mean, to be 22 years into a career and have people showing up at noon on a Tuesday to hang out and listen to music and come to the shows. So I just celebrate the fact that I get to do it at all.
Yeah, we're really lucky because we have people that don't care about their jobs and they just show up whenever.
Those are my people. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that people are tired of hearing from me and they want to hear from Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness. The album Tilt at the Wind No More, available right now. The book, 3 Pianos, available right now. The charity is called
DearJackFoundation.org.
Dear Jack Foundation. And man, you got a lot going on, and we thank you for taking the time to come by and visit us, man. Looking forward to the show tonight.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate
You're
you.
very welcome.